Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out The Secret Garden by developer Samu Jam. This is a game where we can basically take everything and anything we find in the world around us and turn it into our own private garden paradise. So there's going to be sprinklers, there's going to be frogs, there's going to be topiaries and bushes of various types, rocks, statues, and all of that, and even some tiles, and we can actually take all this stuff and lay it out the way we like. In the sandbox adventure, I'm not really sure exactly what to call this. This very much defies most genre conventions, but why don't we jump into it, and we'll see what happens, shall we? So, first things first, we've got a few options up at the top here that I want to deal with. We've got full screen on F, mouse sensitivity on plus and minus, smoothing on M, so we're actually going to hit that real quick, and then we can hide the text with H, so there's our second option. I think the mouse pretty much performs adequately without us adjusting sensitivity. So, in this little Unity world that we seem to be finding ourselves in, what is going on around us? Well, first thing, we can actually pick up this rock and move it around if we choose. And let's just take a quick glance, a cursory glance at the world in all directions and see if there's anything particularly stand out that I want to make note of. Well, there's a thing right there. We've actually got this secluded world surrounded by bushes, and all of these bushes, and pretty much all of the objects we find in this world actually are interactive to some degree, with the exception of these pointy trees. These guys, pine trees, I guess we would call them, don't seem to move around very much. They're just kind of our natural bordering to the wilderness. And actually, if we look past them, I think we can see there seems to be hills going off into the distance. So my first thought when I had walked around this for a little while was, well, why did that flower just fall out of the sky? I don't know. I wanted to kind of bust out of these walls and see if I could maybe get on into the distance, because it looks like we've got green grass and high tides going as far as we can see, and that's probably good, right? So let's pick up and move one of these bushes and create our own natural doorway here. And what do we discover? Well, we've got a pile of tile, and we can actually grab this stuff and drop it wherever we want. We can create our own path. And like I said, there's not really a lot of guiding anything to this, and I like this concept for this very reason. It's basically like a toolkit or a sandbox construction kit or something like that. It's Legos for adults, only Legos are also for adults, so I don't know actually where that narrative or that metaphor comes into play, but that's okay. So it's not the easiest thing to line these suckers up, but, you know, it looks nice when you get it working. Oh, that seems to be a frog right there. I can actually pick up the frog as well. Frog looks a little flattened on one side, but that's fine. Let's put him on these tiles, see if he has a good time. You gonna hop for us, Froggy? Can I get down on your level? There doesn't seem to be a duck button in this case for whatever reason. Actually, very few buttons involved in this game in particular. We've got spacebar to jump, WASD to move, and left click to pick things up. So, you know, something you can get into very easily. And we've got a sprinkler here. I could grab that and put this next to the frog. Maybe that would make it happy. I don't know. I'm not really going to be making anything in particular, but I just sort of wanted to show you this because it's something a bit different. And it sort of, I guess, could evoke some of that same creative spirit that you might find in games like Minecraft and such, where you're just free to do anything you want, and there's nothing stopping you or telling you how to proceed. You just create the environment you want to be around. And sometimes when in life we don't necessarily have that much control, sometimes it's rather soothing to be able to find that level of control in a game world. And it appears that the water seems to be suspended off the ground a little bit. And maybe there's a little bit of an odd moment here with the terrain mapping or something. Anyway, this is where I guess all the frogs like to hang out. And it looks like we've reached a natural border in all directions. It's actually too bad that this world is quite as small as it is. I mean, it makes sense for what is trying to be accomplished here, which is to take this space and allow you to mess around with it a bit. But it would be really neat to actually just go on like a long-term adventure. Oh, I didn't see this before. Actually, a little, what is this, a bug statue? A fly statue. I bet my frogs will love it. All right, well, let's grab the fly statue. Maybe the frogs will enjoy having flies around or something, if that's what happens. It's kind of cool that there's a little secret there nestled in the woods. Like I said, though, it would have been really interesting to see, like, what if this same concept of what I just discovered here might have been extended far further, and maybe there's like all kinds of exploration you could do and then find various bits and bobs for the world to expand your own secret garden, make it even cooler. I could imagine you find like a strange looking old gnarled tree that you could pick up and move, or like a, you know, a fairy statue or something that creates little glittering lights. Maybe there could be a day-night cycle. I mean, I'm prone to go a little bit overboard with these ideas, but I didn't even know that I wanted something like this until I saw it happen. So then all of a sudden I started thinking, well, what directions could this go in? And I think there's quite a few that could all be rather gratifying. And this is not really a particularly naturalistic execution of this idea, but I could also see there being options for both directions where you go and, you know, having everything be as naturalistic as possible, or you go for a style more like this, which is a bit on the cartoony side, and actually looks kind of good in its own right. I mean, we're not going too heavy on shadows or anything, but it definitely does get the job done. Well, I guess the shadows pop in a little bit at the last second there. So, it looks like... Oh, flower just fell out of the sky. I guess this is how flowers grow in the world of Secret Garden. The frogs seem to be occupied and happy over there. I wonder if I move the statue over to this area, if the frogs would come and visit me on this particular spot. So why don't I go over here, because there's one other object that I'd like to share with you. And this is the antimatter cube, which is what I've dubbed it. It is probably not actually that, but I don't actually know what it would be. But what we can use this for is it's basically like a large collision box, and if you see... Oh, it's a little wonky, too, and it likes to roll around. But if you see this big old line of trees here, well, I could just kind of go bowling right through them with this thing, because it causes all of the things that get in the way to just get knocked around, which is surprisingly satisfying. And when you run out of things to do in Secret Garden, well, you look for things to do, and you make your own things to do, and all of a sudden, just having done that with that big old block, I've kind of paved my own way in creating a new area, just by moving all that stuff around. All of a sudden, everything looks different. I could also imagine this would be a lot of fun to mess around with if, like, the garden was randomly generated at first, and then you have sort of like an Animal Crossing style task of, you know, picking out the weeds and, you know, reorganizing and revamping everything, making it nice and pretty, set up a little pavilion. Yeah, that's totally what it is. Wherever you put a sprinkler, the flowers seem to grow. So there's a maybe surprising level of minor depth to this, which I wasn't expecting. Also really satisfying. Take one of these bushes or topiaries, stack them on top of another one, and they walk by themselves. It's also a little bit surreal. And I could totally see that being another direction that this goes in. Like, why bother trying to keep things as normal as possible? Just go weird with it, too, right? Because this could be a lot of fun, too. All of a sudden, we find ourselves in a world where all the bushes start walking by themselves. And I also was having a really good time kicking things around with this. I was trying to see how high I could get stuff to fly into the air. And when you have, when you have them already stacked upon each other, it's not that hard. Also, this statue, the golden statue over here, which I must say has some lovely reflection mapping on it. You can't really see it as well from this side, but like over here you can actually tell. This is also really good for kicking objects around. And I was finding if I intersect at certain points, I can make stuff fly really well. And I was actually knocking some of these bushes off into the wilderness. I don't know why, but something about this concept just is really enjoyable to me, and I found myself playing this for far longer than I expected. I mean, like I said, it's super simple, and there's not really much to actually do in this, but it just seems like a really good jumping off point for a lot of other ideas that I could see actually getting really developed into something that I didn't know the world maybe wanted, but I think probably after it exists, the world would want. You know, if you get, like, some water moving around, you could have, like, custom streams show up randomly throughout your world. Maybe, well, I mean, when you generate your world, rather, you could have placid ponds with koi fish, and you could have little wooden areas set up, like a little trellis that you could walk along, a boardwalk of sorts. Who knows? Maybe you could even go fishing or something. Probably not with the koi fish. Oh, look, they set that tree off into the woods there. But I would have a really good time enjoying this space. What is that? Found another new object here. Maybe the longer I hang out here... Oh, is it just a bird? Oh, geez, that's really sad. It's just like a dead bird. Is this the anti-punchline of Secret Garden? You have all these beautiful discoveries, and then you find out, actually, you just, like, killed a bunch of birds by throwing all of these things around all willy-nilly. I wonder if it was, like, because I kicked one of these trees over here, maybe it hit the bird and killed it, which is really sad. I had no idea that I was capable of such actions. I thought this was a whimsical, happy time, but maybe there's also a darker side to it. Anyway, this is Secret Garden. I really hope this developer goes further with this concept, because I would really like to see more. And I know there's a lot of options, and I discussed a whole bunch of them. But even if none of those seem like they're viable or seem like they might be obnoxious to implement, just this concept, more of this would be fine too. And I would probably mess around in it for quite a while. Imagine even get some multiplayer in and have some friends over and you could like arrange a garden together. I mean, I know a lot of people would say, well, why don't you just do it in Minecraft because like all that stuff already works. Well, this has like a different style of charm. I think this has more of like a Katamari Damacy art style, whereas Minecraft is something a little bit different. And I think this has a lot more appeal in some ways and maybe less in other ways. I don't know, maybe it's just a personal thing also. I also just really like that there's just this random antimatter cube that I'm not sure really has a point, but you can use it to just wreck the landscape if you really want to. There's freaking flowers falling from the sky. Who knows what's going on now? It's a weird world in Secret Garden. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for another day. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Go play some Secret Garden if you'd like. There will be a link to this, of course, right in the description. You can play it right in your browser. It's totally free. And, of course, let me know what you think about it in the comments below the video, because I'd love to hear your opinions. If you think there's something in particular you'd like to see developed into this concept, let me know that. If you think there's any pluses or negatives to this concept, or where you might take things in particular, let me know that as well. And, of course, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. That helps me out a whole bunch, and then more people can find out about more artistic, original, unique, and just strange indie games. That's kind of what I'm all about. And liking the video helps spread the word so more people get to see them. Look at all these trees nestled off into the tops of the wilderness of the pine trees. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes go up every single day, so I'll see you all later.